Have you ever wondered how your local pharmacy actually keeps up with, well, millions of prescriptions? The truth is, they are under an incredible amount of pressure. So today, we're going to dive into the world of pharmacy automation and take a look at a company called IA, which is trying to build the pharmacy of the future.
But first, before we get into the solutions, we really need to understand the problem. Because behind every single pharmacy counter, there's this really complex, really demanding operation. And the challenges, they're just getting bigger every day.
So you have to ask, right? What exactly is creating this high-stakes environment? Why does it feel like the whole system is just stretched to its absolute limit? Let's break it down.
Okay, so here are the main ingredients. First, prescription volumes are just skyrocketing, but staffing, it's often not keeping up. At the same time, we, the patients, we expect everything faster than ever. And yet, when it comes to safety and accuracy, there is literally zero room for error. You mix all those things together, and you've got a genuine pressure cooker.
A challenge this big? Well, it requires a pretty fundamental change in how things get done. And this brings us right to the solution being offered by IA, a company that was basically built to tackle this pressure head-on.
So who exactly is IA? Well, in a nutshell, they're a pharmacy fulfillment company that combines two absolutely critical pieces. You've got the physical automation hardware, yeah, we're talking robots, and then you have the smart enterprise software, the brains, that runs the whole show. Their goal is to completely drag pharmacy operations into the 21st century.
And their approach is really comprehensive. We're not just talking about a machine that counts pills here. Nope. IDA wants to manage the entire journey of a prescription, from the second that order is received, all the way until it's ready for the patient. It is a total system approach.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty good in theory, but how does this actually work in the real world? What does it even look like when you bring this kind of automation and software intelligence into a pharmacy?
This comparison pretty much sums up the transformation. The old way, it's defined by all these separate systems that don't talk to each other. Tons of manual work, which, of course, creates bottlenecks, and you can't see what's going on. The IA way is an integrated platform that uses automation and centralized efficiency to give you a clear view of the entire process.
Now, a huge piece of their strategy is something called centralized fulfillment. The best way to think about it is like a restaurant chain. Instead of every single location making all their own sauces from scratch, they have a central kitchen that handles all that high-volume prep work. Well, IA does the same thing for pharmacies, moving the heavy lifting of filling the most common prescriptions to one central, super-efficient, automated facility.
And these operations are really built on a few core strengths. For one, they're scalable. This is huge. It means a small independent pharmacy can use this stuff just like a giant hospital network can. They just adapt it to their needs. They've also got over 30 years of experience, so they've seen it all. And then there's the analytics. Their software, called Nexia, gives managers this near real-time dashboard so they can see exactly what's going on and fix any bottlenecks instantly.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. But what does this all mean for the pharmacies, for the pharmacists, and, for us, the patients? Let's take a look at the actual impact.
This, right here, is the big why. The entire point of automating all these repetitive manual tasks is to free up the highly trained pharmacist to do the things only they can do: provide direct patient care, answer complex questions, and help manage our health.
And doing that creates this amazing cascade of positive effects. Robots are incredibly accurate, right? So that enhances patient safety. Centralizing operations creates efficiencies that lower costs. The smart software optimizes inventory, which cuts down on waste. And all of it boosts the pharmacist's productivity, letting them focus on those valuable interactions with us.
Now, let's be realistic. No major tech shift like this comes without some challenges. To get the full picture, it's really important to look at the practical things you have to consider and the potential risks of adopting a system like this.
And of course, there are some pretty big considerations. First, the capital investment. This stuff isn't cheap. Then you have change management. You got to train your staff and completely rethink your workflows. You also become really reliant on the system's uptime. If it goes down, that's a problem, so you need good support. And finally, you have to navigate this incredibly complex web of pharmacy regulations, which can be different everywhere you go.
So when you weigh those immense pressures against these powerful solutions, and you factor in the real-world considerations, what does the path forward really look like? Well, this brings us to the idea of the future-proof pharmacy.
This quote really just gets to the heart of it all. The whole idea is to shift that heavy lifting away from the local pharmacy counter. Doing that doesn't just improve efficiency and accuracy. Most importantly, it empowers pharmacists to get back to focusing on their patients. It's really about building a system that's ready for today's demands and tomorrow's.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty crucial question. In a world where the demand for prescriptions is only going to keep growing and patient expectations are only going to get higher, the real question might not be if pharmacies can afford to automate, but if they can really afford not to.